If I was to give you one piece of advice when you're at the car boot, it would be this. Always try and bundle up. Trust me, bundling is the best way to get the best bargains at the car boot.
Get pickups! Building the gangster! Road trips! Night game!
Hello again folks and welcome back to this week's episode, and yes, once again we are back at the greatest car boot in the world, Arming Hall. And one of the things that everyone is looking for at the car boot is a bargain, and the best way to get the most bang for your buck is bundling. That's right, why pick up one game when you can pick up a couple more and get yourself a bundle bargain deal? One of my favourite things about the car boots is the fact you can always barter, and bundling for bartering is the best way to get big buck profit. Yeah, I couldn't think of any more B's. So that's what we're doing this week. We're trying to bundle games together to get the most bang for our buck. But before we head off to the car boot, I just want to remind you folks, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and please subscribe. So I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, and I really want you folks along for the ride. Now, let's start building those big bundles. Here we go then, back at the car boot. Not too early this morning and not the best day of weather, but we are straight into some video games, and these were a pretty good selection of games. 50p each, nice little start to the day. One thing I saw straight away was this original Xbox demo, and these are getting harder and harder to find. And I always have really good memories of playing these when I was younger, so I always used to buy the official Xbox magazine to find out what games I wanted to add into my collection. And yeah, for 50p, I'm happy to add this back into the collection. There was a couple of other games here. I did actually manage to bundle another game in for this for £1. This next store was quite early in the car boot, and I don't think they could have been set up long because there were some really good games on this stall. This is definitely where I picked up the best games of this hunt. And yeah, straight away, this is how I like to look for games, just having to dig through boxes. There was DVDs in here, games, a little bit of everything. But one thing I did see straight away was this copy of Assassin's Creed Rogue. It's an Assassin's Creed game I don't have. I was looking to pick it up cheap. Anytime I see anything Fallout I don't have already, I'm probably going to pick up. There was some really good PC games in here, but I do tend to kind of stray away from a lot of the, say, more mainstream PC games. I only really pick something up if it's a little bit obscure or a little bit odd. I don't know about you, but I tend to see less PlayStation 3 games than I do Xbox 360 games, and there was an absolute fire selection of PlayStation 3 games here. As you can see, one of the first games I pulled out is Demon's Souls, and this is quite a high value game on the PlayStation 3. They had all of the Dark Souls games here, and while they're not my favourite games of all time, if nothing else, these trade in really well. But of course we were looking to bundle, so I was going to see how many games I could bundle together in a large bundle of games, and there was some, as I said, really good titles in here. But one thing I've been doing recently is checking the discs a bit more. Recently I've got burnt a lot, especially at charity shops, picking up games with scratched discs, and while sometimes it's not too concerning, it does start to get annoying after a while. So yeah, definitely checking all these discs. This game especially I had to check because I'd never seen this before. Borderlands 2 Game of the Year edition for the PlayStation 3, but on the front it said add-on content. I was like, well, is it a full game and all the add-ons, or just all the add-ons? Regardless, obviously, of course, I have a copy of Borderlands 2 on a PlayStation 3, so I was going to pick it up. Straight away, I grabbed that Devil May Cry Steelbook because, if you don't know, most Steelbooks by themselves, regardless of the game, will go for £2 or £3 on eBay. So if you can bundle in a Steelbook game, you're kind of laughing. But yeah, this was the idea of the day. Build a bundle and get good deals. What have we got on those? 7. We'll do around 10. This was a nice little find by my wife while I was building that bundle of games. This weird kind of ROM hack kind of Game Boy version of a console. I don't really know what this was, so I did pass. Sadly, space in the games room is becoming a little bit of a premium, but I keep seeing these Mario Kart kind of electronic racing games. I do keep getting tempted by these, but £4, it was a very good bargain. But again, it is a very large piece, and here's my wife trying to show me this amazingly tasteful Fortnite mug. Another stall, and kind of hiding at the back here was some video games, and also hiding amongst them was another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figure. I wasn't quite sure what weapons were with this one, so I did pass it up. But I did have a bit of a laugh when I saw this bum and face soap. You know, I'm always looking for weird items like that. Did have a little bit of a flick through these games. There was a couple of Call of Duties, something like that, but nothing really worth kind of picking up, either for the collection or to trade in. But that's the thing, when you get these boxes like this, you just need to check through them in case there's some kind of game hiding in there you are missing. I did have a quick check of this Wwe DVD, as some of these have good trading credit, but sadly this one wasn't too good a trade, and with most of the stuff on the network, I'm kind of slowly stopping collecting wrestling DVDs. Next door had some pretty cool Star Wars bits, as well as that amazing little Gremlins desktop light, but it just seems like a lot of the more recent Star Wars stuff, even the prequel stuff, just doesn't hold much value. Like, you can get episode 1 figures so incredibly cheap. I know it might not be everyone's favourite Star Wars film, but I still think these figures are kind of cool. I think the store was more kind of a dealer. There was a lot of newer kind of Xbox One and PlayStation 4 games here, but they were fairly priced, about £5 to £8 on each one. But the thing is, we are looking for bundles today and mainly looking for bargains. So these are more the games I'd normally pick up, say in CX or off Facebook Marketplace. Normally when I'm at the Carboot, I'm looking for games in the kind of £2 to £3, or more especially today, looking to bundle stuff up. So I did pass on these. I was very tempted by this copy of Worms WMD because it has a lenticular cover, and if you didn't know by now, I love me a lenticular cover. The store also had a pretty good selection of pop vinyls, and yeah, I try and resist these as much as I do, but every so often I see one which is super cool, such as this Gamerverse one from Guardians of the Galaxy, but it did not prepare me for the absolute box load, literally, of pop vinyls just round the corner. £5 each. You knew I had to have a little bit of a dig in here. There was some really, really cool Mandalorian ones, but I'm really trying not to keep buying pop vinyls, as I'm kind of running out of space for them, and I'm on the fence with them. Some of them I love, some of them I hate, but you know, if I can pick them up cheap, I will normally pick them up. £5 is a pretty good price in these, but I did decide, with my better judgment, to pass. As you know, I'm a massive fan of Star Wars and a massive fan of art books. I was very, very tempted by the art books here for episode 1 and episode 2. Again, this is something I'm trying not to keep buying because they do take up a lot of space, and to be fair, I need to get a new bookshelf in a minute. I'm kind of overflowing with strategy guides, so to pick one up in a minute, it needs to be one I really, really want. I've always been a massive fan of Lego, and obviously I'm a huge fan of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. This was very tempting, but my, it was expensive. They wanted 60 quid for this set of Lego, which probably is about RRP. It's quite rare I see Mega Drive games at the car boot, so it's super cool to see this. Quite a common game, EA Hockey, but you would not believe the price on this one.
Buddy? About 9 quid for that.
That's right, folks, £9 for an incomplete, pretty common Mega Drive game. Here I go, like a shark smelling blood. I saw a store that was absolutely stacked with tons and tons of games.
How much are your games? Are they all different? Or?
Yeah, them ones there for... Oh,
Oh, you alright?
these ones here are different.
Yeah.
They are 3 for $5.
Okay. We'll start.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I was looking for today,
But
games
well on
I could
rebate,
bundle up.
because I thought I'd
There
get
was
it
just
cheap,
tubs
like
of games free for a £5, so you knew I had to pick through every single one of these. I did have a look at some of these higher price games. Don't get me wrong, there was some very good titles in here, but don't forget, today we were mainly looking for deals on bundles. So if I could get a couple of games in a 3 for a £5, that'd be a really good start. These little tiny Pokemon were really, really cool on here, but you know, I really wanted to get into that big bins full of games to look for the 3 for a £5. But of course it would be rude not to look at some of these higher value games. That GTA Double Pack and the original Xbox was in really, really clean condition. I do already have a copy of that, but it was really cool to see it at a car boot. I was
So
very,
this
very
way,
tempted
3 for
by the
£5 or-
Simpsons game. It's an absolutely incredible game, which is surprising for a licensed game, especially a Simpsons game to be fair, but it was a little bit overpriced. And again, as I said, today we're mainly looking for bundle deals. Let's build that 3 for a £5 then. The first game I pulled out was this network access disc for the PlayStation 2, which is really weird. It looks more in the style of a PlayStation 1 game, and it's something I've never seen before, but you know me, I'm always looking for the weird and the wonderful. Digging further, I could not believe I found a copy of Gran Turismo. Since I've been doing my complete PlayStation 1 collection video recently, I only just realised I do not own this game. and it was a little bit rough around the edges, but I think this one will clean up really nicely. And to get this in a 3 for a $5 deal is a really, really good deal. Now, fair warning, I did take a long while to decide what game to pick up for my third game in this 3 for a $5. I was tempted by that Mass Effect Steelbook, but the thing was it was missing the sleeve that goes around it. So you'll have to wait until the end when we take it back to the games room to see what game I picked up to finish off this bundle. On to the next stall, and I found this unassuming box of DVDs and games. I started looking through these, but I was not prepared for what I saw. I don't really know why anyone would even try and sell a game in that condition. To be honest, it put me off the rest of the store. Like, look at the state of this PlayStation 2 controller. It's just a little bit rank. Like, I'd understand if this was like a house clearance stall or something, but it's not really great, is it? Searching through some more boxes of DVDs and a couple of games up here. Nothing really too major to write home about. Obviously, The Getaway is an incredible game, one I already have in my collection. One thing I did find here is this little iToy for the PlayStation 2, but there is more of a story to this stall, so join me at the end of the video and I'll explain what happened. Is it just me, or whenever you go to the Carboot and someone is selling an acoustic guitar, they feel the need to play it? I think sometimes they just turn up to play the guitar. It's a real ick for me, and to be honest, I think it put me off buying some of these games. Even though they're only £2 each, for some reason it just made me tight. I don't really know what it was. I did try and kind of make a lower off on these. I even checked both these games. I don't think Medal of Honor Airborne does trade in for that much. I was tempted to pick up the Wheelman because if you haven't played it before, it's weird. It's like a Vin Diesel Fast and the Furious style game for the 360. A pretty funny game. Kind of wish I picked it up. Next stand, and I was drawn in by the vintage Dalek, but I stayed for the video games. Couple of pretty cool games here for the PlayStation 4, but nothing really too great. Couple of Call of Duties. Probably could have bundled these up pretty cheap, but that's the thing with FIFAs. They are mainly just there to build up your bundles. And yeah, I saw this pink DS, and the thing is, whenever I see a DS, I have to check and see if there's a game in it, because if you can pick up a DS with basically any Pokemon game in it, you're probably laughing. I have picked up a lot of DSs. I think I have about 6 or 7 different DS consoles. I was quite tempted to pick this up, but I do kind of stray away from picking up like electronics at a Carboot because you have no kind of comeback.
No, it was in the other ones, and I know they had games.
Thank you, I don't think pink's my colour, but thank you very much. It may have been early on a Sunday morning, but it shows that I still had the banter. This record player was super nice, but remember what I said about not picking up electronics. I was tempted by this Xbox 360. If this had been cheap enough, I'd have picked it up just for the box, because the boxes of some of these older consoles are getting super expensive, or if the controller had been in better condition, I would have probably picked this up. But again, look at the rust on this. There is like no way I thought this thing had any chance of working. Recently I've been watching a lot of Bob's Burgers, and one of my favourite things about every episode is waiting to see what burger is the special of the day. I think some of these puns are absolutely fantastic, so seeing a book of all these burgers with recipes and puns, I had to pick it up. And I also saw this Star Wars cookbook, and you know I'm a massive Star Wars fan, and the thing was, I reckon I could have bundled these two, so I managed to get a good bundle price of both these books, thus keeping in theme. Could I have got these FIFA games bundled up? Yes. Would I want to? Not really. But the thing was, I wanted to do kind of the best thing you could do in this situation, at least put them in numerical order. Remember what I said about PC games earlier? That's right, I don't really pick up the common ones, but you know, sometimes I just do whatever I want. And one of the things I've been picking up recently is these kind of old CD Rom games. So for 20p, definitely picking this one up for the collection. Here we go then with this week's award for weirdest thing at the Carboot this week. This mannequin which had been all dressed up with nowhere to go and put in a throne just to sit back and watch the Carboot. Definitely normal for Norfolk. As I said, I see loads of Xbox 360 games compared to PlayStation 3 games at the Carboot. As you can see here, another big pile of Xbox 360 games. I did only pick up the one of these games, being Transformers, because there was nothing really else here to bundle with it. But I did get a good deal on this game, but this is normally what you see at the Carboots, as you all know. A lot of FIFAs and a lot of the kind of low value games. So that was it for the Arming Hall car boot. It'd been a pretty good day. The weather hadn't been fantastic, so it hadn't been too busy, but there was another car boot I wanted to head to straight after. Normally don't pick much up, but you never know. You always have to have a look. So the next car boot was at a park and ride, which was actually on the way home, so I didn't really mind stopping. These Star Wars bits were super cool, but again, very, very expensive. I was kind of tempted to pick up these vintage Gladiator toys. Like, shout out in the comments if you remember Gladiators. I don't blame them at all for having 2 wolf figures. And yeah, I was still looking for video games bundles, but this car boot is always a little bit sparse. But I did see these 2 games for the original Xbox. And the original Xbox games, I think we are seeing less and less. These may not be the biggest kind of titles, but my collection is getting pretty huge now. So if I can just pick up any game, as long as it's complete and in decent condition, I'm going to pick it up and keep building that original Xbox collection. It's a real shame that this car boot isn't as popular as it used to be pre-COVID. Before COVID, this car boot used to be about half the size of Arming Hall, but still was a really good car boot to go to. But it just seems every week now there's fewer and fewer sellers there, and it's a real shame. But the thing is, it's always worth having a look, as you never know what you're going to find. The hunt isn't over though until it is over, and on the way back to the car I came across this stall selling loads of Nintendo DS and even some 3DS games. But the problem was, yes, I could have probably bundled some of these together, but the prices on these were about the same price as they would have been in CX, and at the end of the day, if I'm at Carboot, I'm looking for a deal. But the deals have been amazing today. We had managed to bundle up loads of amazing games. Now let's take it back to the games room and have a look at those big bonanza bundles. Here we are then, back from the car boot, back in the games room, and as you can see, I managed to pick up some big bargain bundle bonanza this week. At first, I didn't think I was going to get a bundle on these first few games. The first game I picked up was this demo disc for the original Xbox. Nothing too exciting on here. You've got Rocky and Micro Machines, but for 50p, I'm slowly building my demo collection for the original Xbox. But I did manage to bundle, after the camera cut off, this Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Game of the Year edition. Now, interestingly, CX does not take this as trade-in, which is quite strange because they sell it for £12. But the thing is, when you look at the back or even the side of the disc, it's exactly the same as it is inside, except you do have a code in here to download the extra maps. Now, presuming because this came out so many years ago, I am probably correctly presuming these codes aren't working anymore. That's why I guess CX are not taking this as trade-in, but quite happy to add these 2 games in for our first bundle for just £1. Apologies, not every single game I picked up from the car boot this week was in a bundle, but I just can't resist a bargain. This is a bit of a weird one, but I did pick up this Scrabble CD Rom game. I keep seeing these kind of old school PC games. I just love them kind of in these old CD cases, and for 20p, this is something kind of I'm putting aside for a very, very future project. So subscribe and you'll see where I'm going with that one, but trust me, it's a long game. The other singular game I picked up was Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, and I'm actually a massive fan of most of these Transformers games. They're asking £1 for this. I did manage to get a bargain though, still at 50p. This one does sell for £3.50 in CX, so picking this up for 50p was a nice deal. I'm always looking to boost my original Xbox collection, and games are getting harder and harder to find. So if I see a game I don't have in a collection now, I'm gonna pick it up. So with the inclusion of these 2 EA Sports games, we now have 326 games in my original Xbox collection. Not really game related, but I always like to look for other items that kind of pique my interest at the car boot, such as these novelty cookbooks. So first up we have the Bob's Burgers Burger Book. If you're a fan of Bob's Burgers, you'll know in the background, in every episode is always a weird kind of novelty burger up on the menu board, such as the Papa was a Rolling Stone burger, which made of papaya, mango, avocado, amongst other things. The other one I managed to pick up is Star Wars Galactic Baking, with recipes such as Cloud City Marshmallows. The thing is, it does keep with the theme as bundling, as both of these books were £1 for both. This next bundle is probably the best bundle value-wise of this week's pickups. That's because it was free. So I was looking at this little tiny silver PlayStation iToy camera. The lady said to me I could have it for 50p. Once she realised it was like not a webcam but a PlayStation iToy, she said to me, just take it. I was like, oh thanks, thank you very much. I was looking around on her stall then and I picked up this little tiny Mario Kart. I'd like to have these little kind of knickknacks, especially for Nintendo, kind of decorate the game shelves wherever there's a little space. Again, she said to me, just to take that. Fair enough. And then finally going through the DVDs, she let me have this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 4. And you know by now, I love TMNT. This is one of the series I've been looking to pick up from Music Magpie, as these are super cheap DVDs, and you guessed it, she let me have this DVD for free as well. So 3 items for free. Thank you very much, that lady, really made my day. Some people may think dealers at the car boots are a bad thing, but I'm here to say you can still get deals from a dealer. So when I saw those 3 games for a £5, I knew I had to have a dig about and pick out some of the best bits for the collection. The first thing I picked up was this PlayStation 2 access disc, and I presume this was something you needed if you bought the modem that plugged into the back of the PlayStation 2, and these are the kind of weird oddities I love to add into my collection. If you're a subscriber of the channel, you'll know that recently I've been doing my complete PlayStation 1 collector's video, and if nothing else, this has been showing me that I have some severe gaps in my collection, and one game I really needed was the original Gran Turismo, and this was in 3 for a £5 and is in fantastic condition. The box is in fairly good condition, it is complete, and yeah, this is a game I knew I needed to add into my collection, so to pick this up in 3 for a £5 was a great deal, as this normally sells in CX for £6. So yeah, that's what I mean, you can still get deals from dealers. And the last game I picked up was Ridge Racer Unbounded. That's because I know one of the other Ridge Racer games on Xbox 360 is selling really well at the minute. This one is not the most expensive game, but it is still £4 in CX, but I'll put some footage up. This game looks awesome. It looks like the Burnout Ridge Racer experience. It looks really, really good. This is a racing game I haven't played on the Xbox 360. I'm really looking forward to picking these up, and yeah, really happy to pick up these 3 bits for just £5. We have come to our final big bargain bonanza bundle of games, and this seller had an amazing selection of both PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 games, and you will not believe how much value I managed to bundle up with these games. So the first game I picked up for the PlayStation 3 was Devil May Cry 4, but it is the Steelbook edition, and folks, do not sleep on Steelbook versions of games. Even the Steelbook alone will normally go for a couple of quid, regardless of what the game is. This game sells on CX for £8. And I will tell you the value of this entire bundle at the end, but trust me, £8 is very, very good. Next up, we have Dead Rising 2 Off the Record. Probably the best way to play this absolutely amazing zombie beat-em-up slasher adventure game. Next up, we have one for the beat-em-up fans, Tekken 6. A game I didn't have in my collection, and again, this is quite an expensive game, £8 in CX, so happy to add this one to my PlayStation 3 selection. Next up, Borderlands 2 Game of the Year Edition. And a big reason I'm always looking for Game of the Year editions that have the content on the disc is so if that content ever gets delisted, I can still play it. So again, this is an £8 game, but having that content on the disc makes it priceless. Next up, one I just picked up because I could not leave this behind. Fallout Collection. It has Fallout, Fallout 2 and Fallout Tactics. Probably worthless in this day and age, but I just love me some Fallout. Next up, Assassin's Creed Rogue. Kind of one of the slightly more expensive of the Assassin's Creed games, but you know, just happy to bundle it in with these games because that's the thing. Sometimes you can bundle in these lower value games. And finally, we have the MVP Demon's Souls for the PlayStation 3. If you don't know by now, I'm not a massive fan of these Souls games, but they do have a decent amount of value. This is a very expensive game on CX and does leave me with a bit of a conundrum. The thing is, at heart, I am a game collector, but this would trade in for a decent amount at CX. But the thing is, because I can collect physical media, down the line, am I going to change my mind in like 10 years time and go, I really want to play Demon's Souls, and then am I going to end up paying more for this game? So this kind of left me with a difficult thing. Do I want CX credit or do I want a game to add to my collection? And I have to admit, the collector side of me won in this circumstance. I would rather pay less for this game and keep it in my collection so I don't have to pay more for it down the line. So here we have that big bundle of games. Now, this bundle, if you went into CX and bought it today, would be nearly 50 quid. And this is why bundles are best. I managed to bundle all these games together for £10. That is a fifth of what this would have cost in CX, and that, folks, is why you need to be bundling up at the Carboot. There we have it then, folks. That is why bundling is best. That is how you get the most bang for your buck, and that is how you build a game collection on a budget at the Carboot. You have to barter and budget and bundle. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments down below, what is the best bundle deal you have got at Carboot? I'm sure you folks out there have made some amazing deals at Carboot. I want everyone to be jealous of those deals, so sound off in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, keep playing the game. See y'all soon.